This week on Sports Night in Auburn, SEC Nation came rolling onto the plains in style. No roof, no problem. We will tell you all about how Eagle Eye was in the driver's seat with the best in the business. To the gridiron, Peyton Thorne excels for 3 quarters against Oklahoma, but some questionable calls in the fourth boomed the Sooners to the lead in the final minutes. In Auburn volleyball, they had a week for the ages, with arguably their best win in program history. Lots of winning from our teams in Auburn, with a lot more winning to come tonight on Sports Night in Auburn.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
That ball is gone deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline going to the end zone.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
When new freshmen arrive for their first day of college, it can be a nervous, exciting feeling knowing that new experiences are on the way. Here in Auburn, Alabama, there are no strangers, only friends we have not yet met. Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. My name is Vince Wolfram. This weekend, Eagle Eye Sports Department had the chance to make some of those new connections as our friends at SEC Network paid a visit to the Plain. Last Friday, on game day eve, our sports department was introduced to the members of the traveling crew for the live shows of SEC Nation and Marty and McGee. We were able to see the sets, have a behind-the-scenes look into the productions, and speak with the ESPN talent Marty Smith about the industry, as well as an amazing panel of show and PR coordinators, directors, and content producers. This was a fantastic experience for all of our members to be able to see how the best media outlets put out top-of-the-line production. Fast forward to game day Saturday morning, Eagle Eye's JoJo Cavanagh, Micah Farmer, Jack Corbett, and I were able to assist the production in the fan experience department, welcoming all kinds of student groups, special guests, and facilitating fun commercial break activities and assisting stage managers as well. It was the real deal for us, a timely operation, organized craziness, and so much fun. We want to extend our thanks to Blair Wartsmith, Baron Miller, and Katie Callahan for organizing to meet and include us in the weekend activities, as well as all those who spoke to our team. One of those people was one of the most respected reporters in our space, Marty Smith. I had the opportunity to talk with Marty and get his thoughts on what Auburn needed to do to get back on track ahead of its matchup against Oklahoma.
I think what Auburn really has to do is they have to try to establish the line of scrimmage, and they got to run the football. They have to run the football because throwing it has been very hard on the Tigers. Can they do that? I don't know, because the front seven for Oklahoma is very, very good. And so it's going to be an uphill slog. The fans here are going to have to be super engaged. This is the loudest stadium in the country when it wants to be. And on Saturday afternoon, they need it to be.
Well, Marty, they were. Jordan-Hare Stadium Pulse was nearing its max in number 18 Boomer Sooners' first SEC road game since leaving the Big 12. For Oklahoma, true freshman quarterback Michael Hawkins Jr. got his first career start at QB, and Peyton Thorne was back under center as the starter for Auburn. This was a nail-biter, and you are here just in time for the highlights. Sooners, Tigers, let's go.
After Oklahoma scored on its opening drive, Auburn looked to find some juice of its own in the second quarter. Peyton Thorne found Dr. Dependable, Keandre Lambert-Smith, giving him 6 touchdowns already on the year. Add one more point to his 6 after he got jiggy. Come on now. The war-ready defense was running freshman Michael Hawkins Jr. out of the pocket all afternoon. This time, Austin Keys got to him. Momentum breeds momentum, and the best way to start is to start. Peyton Thorne, sir, how do you do? Malcolm Simmons lifts the Tigers to a 14-7 lead after that 48-yard bomb. Mr. Cardwell, you're right on, because the big dogs were dogs. From the OU 1-yard line, the lob, Thorne to Luke Deal, the 6-year senior showing some youth. 21-10, Auburn. After one 4th down stop and a missed field goal in the fourth quarter by the Tigers, Oklahoma began to air it out. Hawkins to J.J. Hester for 60 yards down to the Auburn 5, where the Sooners punched it in. After a failed 2-point conversion, Oklahoma trailed 21-16. That's when a bad dream turned into a disastrous reality for Auburn. Kip Lewis reads Thorne, rumbles 63 yards for the pick 6. Auburn down on the scoreboard, and the fans were down bad. Oklahoma would walk away with the win feeling as good as this dude, 27-21. Auburn had 191 more yards than the Sooners, but finished with less points on the board. Head coach Hugh Freeze addressed the scoring puzzle.
We've got to do something different to win these games when we're able to produce the yards we are. We're not producing the points that should come with that to assist. The defense is playing really, really hard and pretty well right now.
After the game, Coach Freeze spoke about missed opportunities to start 5-0 on the season, and quarterback Peyton Thorne spoke on preparing for an atmosphere like the one in Sanford Stadium in Athens this weekend.
Our fan base has done their part, which makes not being 5-0 very hard to swallow when we certainly had our chances to do that. My ask is to stick with us through the growing pains.
You know, just that, number one, you can't act like it's not different. It is different, you know. You have to be aware of that before the game. You have to go in there with anticipation and help those guys understand what they may see, what they may hear. But then also just to block it out, you know, that's a lot easier said than done sometimes. But, you know, we're going to have practice with the noise all week, I'm sure, so they'll get used to that. But just going to have good communication and then stay locked into what we're doing.
I'd like to welcome in Eagle Eye Sports Encyclopedia, Micah Farmer, to the studio now. Micah, let's break down what Coach Freeze touched on there. How about this? Against Oklahoma, Auburn led the game in first downs, rushing yards, passing yards, and had almost 200 more total yards than Oklahoma. But they finished down on the scoreboard. What do you think Auburn has to do to generate more offense, but just put points on the board?
Well, Vince, you mentioned Auburn leading in a lot of areas. The area we keep leading in, though, is turnovers, and you cannot keep turning the ball over if you want to win these games. It looked great through the first three quarters, maintained control of the ball, but then that pick six by Peyton Thorne on 3rd and 3. And also, I think the coaching staff needs to not overthink it here. You have 3rd and 3, you have a very, very good running back room. If you're not going to run the ball, at least stick a running back in the backfield so the Oklahoma defense can just sell out on the pass. So don't overthink yourself, and then just don't turn the ball over.
Keep it simple, right? Now, looking ahead, Auburn goes on the road for the first time this season, and it is not the easiest way to start a road trip. Athens, Georgia, to face the number 5 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. And Micah, I don't know if you have a dog at home, but I do know that apparently angry dogs are not that fun to play with. And after last week's 41-34 heartbreaker in Tuscaloosa against Alabama, Kirby Smart and company are going to be fired up to play this week. Hugh Freeze, I'm sure, will be looking at that tape and try to get an advantage using it. But from Micah's microscope, what do you think Auburn could do to upset the dogs at home?
Well, I think it starts with getting speed on the edge. You saw Georgia get killed by that against Alabama in the first half. Alabama really stretched the field side to side, had the Georgia linebackers and safeties in conflict. You even saw that in their first game versus Clemson when Clemson was able to move the ball for the first part of that game. It was getting speed on the edge. And for Auburn, you have a young receiving core who has a lot of speed in it. Utilize those guys. Get them out on the perimeter. Get them running back and forth, side to side. Get the linebackers in conflict and make them make decisions. Then you also have to get Beck on the deck. You want pressure on Carson Beck. Get him down. If you're pressuring Carson Beck, he's going to play worse. He's going to have to make snap decisions, and you really want to get him in that spot.
Attack the edge and try to put pressure on Carson Beck, who said after last week's battle with the Tide, quote, "I'm upset." Taking a look at Georgia now, led by Beck, who is one of the best active quarterbacks in the nation right now. Who are some key players to watch out for in the red and black this week?
Well, it starts out with Carson Beck. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, especially as far as ball placement goes. A lot of time he can put it on the space of a dime. I know we say on a dime a lot, but it is true with this guy. He is pinpoint from the pocket. So like I mentioned earlier, you really need to get pressure on him if you want to have success. Next up, Malachi Starks on the back end playing safety. This is the rangiest safety in the country. This might be the fastest safety in the country, and I think he has the best ball skills of any safety in the country. If you're Peyton Thorne, just flat out don't throw it his way, in my opinion. Then finally, receiver Dominic Lovett. Lovett is the Dogs' receiver 1, but has struggled with drops, especially you saw in the Alabama game, a couple off of his hands. But I think if you can really jam him at the line, make those route cuts slower, get him in conflict as well, really jam him, that's how you're going to slow down this Georgia offense.
And if you're traveling to Athens this weekend, those are your players to watch out for. The game is set for 2:30 p.m. on ABC. You know, ABC 123, Fouts forecast is what you want to see. Brett is going to give you the weather so real on this broadcast, if you listen and stay tuned, you might have a degree. Weather is up next when we come back on EETV.
Good evening. I am your weatherman, Brett Fouts. Let's take a look at the weather forecast for Auburn sports this week. Not a lot going on around campus this week, as there are no home Auburn sports game this week. However, for those of you traveling to Athens on Saturday, let's take a look at the forecast there. Athens and the rest of the South is still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, which dumped over 40 trillion gallons of water over the entire Southeast. Thankfully, Saturday is shaping up to be a great day for football. The high will be 83 degrees on Saturday in Athens, but temperatures at kickoff will likely be in the high 70s with virtually no chance of rain. Winds will be blowing lightly and cloud coverage will be spotty, setting up for a beautiful day for Auburn football between the hedges. That's all I have for you this week for Eagle Eye TV. I'm Brett Fouts, War Eagle.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Auburn volleyball's Bella Bell is a graduate student that transferred from Kentucky after winning a national championship in 2021. In last Friday's match, she put down 12 kills on a season-high .435 hitting percentage, in addition to her 4 blocks. And oh, I forgot to mention, it was against her former team. Eagle Eye's Cohen Dalzell joins us now, and Cohen, you have more on Tiger volleyball.
Yeah, Vince. This past Friday, Auburn volleyball welcomed the 12th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats, a squad Auburn had not beaten since 2010, into Neville Arena for their SEC opener after dark. It looked like it'd be more of the same early as the Wildcats won 2 of the first 2 sets. However, Auburn refused to quit, mounting a monumental rally to reverse sweep Kentucky and take an improbable 3-2 win. Junior Madison Shear tops the Tigers' kill tally, racking up 17 on the night. Redshirt sophomore setter Peyton Dunn led the way with 27 assists, one of 2 career-high marks set in the match. The other was on defense, as freshman Grace Havlicek topped the stat sheet with 10 blocks. The win moved Auburn to 1-0 in SEC play via their 9th ever ranked win, their 2nd such win of the season, and 4th under coach Brent Crouch. Adding to their busy weekend, the Lady Tigers took on Alabama at home in the Iron Bowl of volleyball. Eagle Eye reporter Sophia Weber was at the match, so I'll let her tell you about how it all went down.
In a matchup that never disappoints, your Auburn women's volleyball team took on the Alabama Crimson Tide on Sunday in Neville Arena.
Coming off their win against Kentucky, the Lady Tigers had a program record in attendance for the Iron Bowl of women's volleyball. They took the first set with the help of 2 veterans, 7 digs from Fallon Lanham and this finish from Chelsea McCurdy, which led the Tigers to cruise to the 2nd set. This is when the Crimson Tide caught the Tigers being too comfortable, and it was their time to celebrate. Rivalries bring out the best in teams. In a 3rd set battle, Belle Zimmerman led the team with smart plays that gave them the edge. Madison Shear came up with this pancake, and in the same rally was able to protect like no other. The 3rd set ended 29-27 in favor of the Tigers, and they were taking all of the momentum with them into the 4th set. It was Lakin Laurendine who stepped up in the 4th, contributing both a crucial ace and 12 kills in the match. All 3,082 fans were on their feet for the final point that sealed the Tigers' win, 25-22.
The wins keep on coming for Brent Crouch and the Lady Tigers. The final score here in Neville Arena, Auburn 3, Alabama 1. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sophia Weber.
Auburn broke back into the top 25 after their match wins over Kentucky and Alabama last week, with the AVCA placing them at 24 in their latest poll. Other honors from the past week in volleyball went to the freshman from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, Grace Havlicek. Havlicek earned SEC Freshman of the Week for her combined 6 kills and 16 blocks on 66% hitting against Kentucky and Alabama. It's the first time Havlicek has received this honor this season. Upcoming for Auburn, Georgia travels to Neville Arena on Friday to take on the 24th ranked Tigers. And the number 7 team in the nation, Texas, visits on Sunday for a colossal top 25 matchup. From the court to the pitch, we got soccer with Val.
Thanks, Cohen. Taking a look at Auburn soccer's unbeaten streak that unfortunately came to an end this Thursday night as number 8 Auburn fell 4-1 to Texas A&M at Ellis Field. The Tigers rallied late with Becky Contreras scoring a header in the 83rd minute but it unfortunately was not enough to stop the Aggies. Auburn's goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska left early with a head injury after a penalty led to A&M's first goal in the 24th minute. Sophomore Taylor Richards stepped in and made some key saves in this game, but the Aggies netted 3 more in the second half. Anna Haddock picked up her 8th assist of the season and 39th of her career, tying for 9th in SEC history. Looking towards this week, Auburn soccer dominated Ole Miss with a 3-0 win thanks to 3 second-half goals and their 10th clean sheet of the season. Senior goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska broke Auburn's shutout record, earning her own 34th career clean sheet and securing second place in SEC history. After a scoreless first half, Auburn came out firing. Anna Haddock scored the game winner just 3 minutes into the second half, followed by goals from Olivia Woodson and Becky Contreras. Woodson's shot blasted into the top corner, and Contreras sealed the deal with a 30-yard strike. The Tigers got Ole Miss 19-3, completely shutting down their offense. What a game for those Tigers. Looking forward into the week, Auburn looks to keep this momentum going as they face LSU this Friday in Baton Rouge for a Tiger vs. Tiger showdown. May the best Tiger win. From Tigers to horses, back to Cohen with Auburn Equestrian News.
Auburn Equestrian was in action for their first match of the season as the number 5 Tigers hosted the preseason number 1, TCU. Auburn earned the upset, taking down TCU 11-7 at the Auburn Equestrian Center last Friday. Auburn earned 3 of the 4 most outstanding performer honors for the match, with juniors Caroline Buchanan and Caroline Fredenberg winning the honors in reining and horsemanship, while sophomore Avery Glenn held it down in flat. The Tigers defeated the best team in the nation 6-3 in Western while squeaking past the Horned Frogs 5-4 in jumping seat. A major upset starts off the season right for Auburn as they search for their first national championship since 2019. The Tigers are off until next week Friday, October 11th, when they travel to face South Carolina to open SEC play.
Equestrian is on track to chase another championship this year, and only time will tell if they will be able to get that chance. For trivia this week, we're going to stay on the topic of big wins. Auburn headed to Georgia this week, and they have not won against the Dogs in a wee little bit. With the Tigers trying to get back in the win column this week, we're going for a throwback trivia question. Who was the quarterback the last time Auburn beat Georgia? A. Jarrett Stidham, B. Bo Nix, C. Sean White, or D. Nick Marshall? Choose wisely, because we'll have the answer when we come back. This is Sports Night in Auburn. We are back for the trivia question we left you with before the break. Who was the quarterback the last time Auburn beat Georgia? The quarterback is letter A, Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett had a heyday on November 11th, 2017 against the number 1 ranked Bulldogs. The game was considered the Tigers' best performance of the 2017 season. Stidham completed 16 of 23 passes for 214 yards and 3 scores. Auburn outgained Georgia 488 to 230 in total yards, after Kerryon Johnson rumbled and bumbled for 167 rushing yards and 66 receiving. Former head coach Gus Malzahn believed Johnson should have been in the Heisman Trophy conversation. Kerryon was playing like a dude that put people in the seat. And on that very note, Cohen is still with me in the studio now with some new box office updates.
On the court, Auburn women's basketball had some news announcing that they have sold the most season tickets in program history for the 3rd straight season. The Auburn women continue to grow in popularity after their upset of LSU and a trip to the NCAA tournament last season. The Tigers look to improve on that stellar campaign last year, starting with a spooky exhibition game later this month. Auburn women's hoops plays LaGrange on October 31st in what should be a fun Halloween matchup. Now on the men's side of basketball season is finally underway as the first day of official practice for Auburn men's hoops was last week Thursday. The team held a pro day during day 1 of practice so NBA scouts could come out to watch the players before the season so they can see how players improve and become more versatile as the season goes on. Head coach Bruce Pearl spoke to the media on his thoughts going into the first day of practice.
The combination of NIL and transfer portal in the Power 5 conferences, you're looking at almost 4 to 5 guys transferring per year per team. It's over 4. We've averaged 2 over the last 5 years or so. Part of it is because our guys love Auburn, and our fans have done such a great job loving them. And they want to get their degrees, and they want to stay. And that's a real advantage for us.
From the court to the links, the Bruce Barkley and Basketball Golf Classic happened on Monday morning at RTJ Golf Course.
When we started this, I made one phone call to Charles. One phone call. What do you need, my brother? What do you need? And how many of you here have heard him say that and actually do that?
So I just want to say thank you. Have a great day. But remember, man, we're part of a special family, War Eagle.
Season has been full of work for former Auburn players in the NBA. Team Media Days went down yesterday across the association, and we got to hear from some of our favorites as the tip-off of a new NBA season is on the horizon. From Ohio, the newest money man, Isaac Okoro, is in Cleveland, and he is there to stay. Here's what he had to say about what stands out to him about his new city.
It means everything. Cleveland, they're all for you. All they want to do is see you just work hard, get on the court, hustle, and have a hard-working mentality. So, once I got into the league and they seen that and they embraced that, that's all I wanted.
From Houston, Jabari Smith is entering year 3 of his career, and his excitement for it is brewing.
Just this offseason, I was real confident on what I knew what I need to work on. I was ready for the next season. It's like I just was ready to start fresh and start from the ground up and just know that we're a team that's competing in this league and it's time to win some games, and I'm gonna be a big part of that. So it's just like I'm just excited, man. Like I've been working my butt off all summer, working my butt off all my life to put myself in positions where I can compete in the best league in the world. So I'm ready for it.
From Salt Lake City, Walker Kessler is looking forward to a bounce-back year after his second season. He had to let us know that because his face has been on billboards and advertisements all summer long, but he has still been working in the gym, improving on his game.
Probably my most proudest accolade I have, I was in 7th grade and I was in theater. I actually won the theater award for a monologue playing Santa Claus. So, I've always kind of wanted to be an actor in my second life. So it's helps me get to live that a little bit. So it's fun. This summer, different from my first year and last year, was just I was consistently, working at home or in Utah. Really worked on, obviously, my free throw, and just continuing to play with a physical presence and be dominant. So this summer has been huge.
And we just talked to players who are comfortably sitting on the rosters of their new teams, but over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of shakeup. Micah's back in the studio with me with some roster updates.
Thanks, Vince. First up, former Auburn men's basketball player Jalen Williams has made the training camp squad for the Denver Nuggets, so we'll see if he can make it onto the big league roster or if he will stay in the G League come the season. Next up, outside linebacker edge hybrid Iku Leota has been signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad, so a little move up from him after being a free agent. And finally, tight end John Samuel Schenker has been moved up to the active roster for the Las Vegas Raiders, joining a stout tight end room of Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. But that is the Eagle Eye roster moves for this week. Now to Auburn players doing work on the field in the pros. Here's Val.
Thanks, Micah. In this week's edition of Auburn in the Pros, we cover both men and women's sports with the NFL, MLB, and WNBA. Starting off with Auburn icon and WNBA legend, DeWanna Bonner. Bonner broke the record for most playoff games ever played in the WNBA with 83. She broke this record when her team, the Connecticut Sun, took on the Minnesota Lynx in round 1 of the WNBA playoffs. Not only did Bonner break this record, but she also recorded a double-double in this game with 10 points and 11 rebounds. Swinging on over into baseball, Auburn has one former Tiger in the MLB playoffs. Pitcher Casey Mize of the Detroit Tigers is Auburn's sole representation in this year's playoffs. The 6-seeded Tigers took on the 3rd-seeded Houston Astros today in Game 1, where luckily Detroit took home the win 3-1 in an exciting matchup. Finally, over in the NFL, first touchdown of his NFL career. In their win over the New York Jets, Knicks threw for 6 to wide receiver Courtland Sutton. Finally, Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby is having a heck of a season in his second year. He currently holds the record for most yards per carry in the NFL with 8.1 yards. He also played a great game against the Houston Texans this week with 7 carries and 90 yards, including this 58-yard long run.
Up the middle, there's plenty of room for Bixby. Tank off to the races at the 20, at the 10, and they won't get him.
That's all we have for Auburn in the pros. Back over to Cohen.
Baseball junior Ike Irish and Florida transfer Cade Fisher were named top prospect for the upcoming 2025 MLB draft. Irish, a catcher from Hudsonville, Michigan, was ranked 12th, with Fisher, a left-handed pitcher from Dalton, Georgia, coming in at number 66. Both players will kick off the upcoming season with fall ball action against Florida State in Pensacola, Florida, on October 12th.
Thanks, Cohen. Baseball looks to be on the up and ups with the amount of prospects that head coach Butch Thompson has been out recruiting. Another team that has been on the up and up and been on a roll for a long time now has been men's golf. We've got all the golf updates from Coach Clinard's team that you've been waiting for after this quick break. But first, hold on, trivia. How many NCAA championships has Auburn men's golf reached under Nick Clinard? A, 4, B, 11, C, 6, or D, 17? Send your answers into the chat, and we will have the bingo card of answers after this break. Finally, the answer to the trivia question I know you have all been patiently waiting for. How many NCAA championships has Auburn men's golf reached under head coach Nick Clinard? They have reached B, 11 NCAA championships under Nick Clinard in the 13 years that he has been at Auburn. Amongst the plenty of highlights for Auburn golf in the last year, a fun one came for the Tigers on Saturday on SEC Nation. The boys took on a green, but in a little different scene than normal.
Here and your 2024 national champion Auburn Tigers. Let them hear it, you guys. Yeah. Winning championships here. Coach, I know you've talked a lot about this team and what they mean to you, but what would you say as you reflect on their incredible run to win the championship?
Just super proud of them.
Yes.
These guys work so hard. We push them, we encourage them, we inspire them, we lead them. We have great culture, we have great connectivity, we have a shared vision, and I just can't be more pleased about the character these young men represent every day.
Congratulations. Look at the rings, too.
Well, yeah, why are they so small?
Yeah. Those aren't heavy at all.
How many golf tans we got going? You got a golf tan. You got a golf tan.
You guys want to give us any
What would
advice
happen
on our
if we
game?
played SEC Nation versus y'all in golf? How many strokes would you give us?
We would lose.
Hey, Tim, give a practice swing roll. Hey, Coach, can you just
They're
give him
trying to be
like
nice.
Can you give some coaching? Yeah. Coaching?
First thing, it could be a beatdown if these guys played you. Okay?
That one's going. That's why I said give us some strokes. How many strokes? Going way to 80.
4 left.
Yeah, 80.
A lot of spotlight has been on Auburn men's golf since Coach Clinard rolled onto the Plains, and his players are getting the spotlight too. Josiah Gilbert took home the SEC Golfer of the Week honor after his first individual win of his college career at the Valero Texas Collegiate. Gilbert shot 12 under to tie for first in the 90-man field out at Deep in San Antonio. From San Antonio to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Cohen, he's got the updates on men's and women's tennis.
3 members of Auburn men's tennis had the privilege of traveling to Tulsa, Oklahoma to compete in the ITA All-American Championship last week. Billy Blades and Will Nolan made it all the way to the first round of the doubles main draw before falling to the third-ranked doubles pair in the nation, Hogan Tokach and Julio Perego from Texas A&M. The pair of Blades and Nolan picked up a win against number 31 Sebastian Gorzi and Lucas Brown from Texas, marking the biggest doubles victory for both Auburn partners to get them to the main draw. Nicholas Hang won a couple of matches in pre-qualifying before Lucas Brown of Texas ended his tournament in singles play on day 2. The men's tennis has the SEC Big 12 Challenge next up this weekend in Waco, Texas, from October 4th to October 6th. Women's tennis was also in action, with 2 Tigers being at the Women's ITA All-American Championship in Cary, North Carolina. Auburn's DJ Bennett earned a trip to the NCAA Singles Championship in Waco, Texas in November. Bennett, ranked 32nd, defeated 9th overall Nicole Kieran of Texas A&M. Although her tournament ended with a loss to 43rd-ranked Theodora Rabman from UNC, she will get to compete against the best of the best in Waco come November. Ava Harastar also made the tournament, dropping both matches. The two competed in doubles as well, but ultimately fell in 2 close matches before winning one in the consolation round. The next competition up is the Wahoo Invitational at the Virginia Tennis Complex this weekend, October 4th to October 6th. Now I'm going to run it all on over to Val for track and field.
Thanks, Cohen. I'm back, but this time with some track and field updates. Auburn Cross Country put on a show at the Gans Creek Classic in Columbia, Missouri. The men's team finished strong, holding on to their number 4 ranking in the South region, while the women's continued to impress, sitting at number 8. But the real star of this week, you ask? Brenda Jepchurcher. She was named SEC Women's Runner of the Week after another dominant performance. This girl cannot be stopped. The team gets a well-deserved break before heading to Madison, Wisconsin for the pre-nationals on Saturday, October 19th. Mark your calendars, they're gonna bring the heat. Now jumping back over to Cohen for some more swim and dive.
Auburn Swim and Dive starts to jump off into their upcoming season as the CSCAA preseason polls rank the women's team 17th and the men's team 16th in the country. Although the real season for Auburn Swim and Dive begins next weekend with the SMU Invite in Dallas, Texas on October 11th and 12th, the swim and dive teams are hosting an Auburn-only orange and blue match this Friday at the James E. Martin Aquatic Center at 3 p.m. as a little preview for both men's and women's swim and dive this year.
No better way to round out the show than with a little trending Tigers. This one coming at you with rings and recognitions. There were a lot of celebrations and also a lot of bling this weekend. With Auburn hosting Oklahoma, they had several Auburn Tigers recognized on the field. This included the Auburn men's basketball team for winning their 2024 SEC tournament, the Auburn men's golf team for winning the 2024 national championship, and last but certainly not least, former Auburn gymnast Suni Lee for winning 2 more Olympic medals in the 2024 Paris Olympics. She came decked out in her gold and bronze medals. Speaking of bling, the Auburn men's basketball and men's golf team championship rings were revealed on social media. Let's check them out.
Yeah, so it's just the 3-1, 3-2, 3-2 family, which is a big motto for us. History made. Best season in college golf history. We, where is it? 185, 9-1 is our total record. And name, Swing and Orby on the side there. 10-20 wins written in. And then SEC just incorporated the family again. SEC, Sea Island, War Eagle down the bottom here, and then just the name on the inside, and then SEC champions on top. And then blue AU and an orange AU, one of each. We planned ahead, we knew we were getting this one.
And that's a wrap on tonight's show. Be sure to follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV_sports and our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Vince Wolfram for the crew. Good night and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.